Welcome to the House of Horror.
Never seen. Gonna raise some hell, gonna lose control. We're just dying to start the show. We're just dying to start the show. In a haunted house on a haunted wing. The ladies make you scream. Well rehearsed, he likes his role.
Sure.
Someone's dying to start the show. Someone's dying to start the show.
Hellraiser with The Spy.
Ever been. It's time for rocket heads to roll. We're just dying to start the show. We're all just dying to start the show.
My God, he's still alive!
Somebody's dying.
Stop him, he's killing us! Will!
Dying to start the show.
Hello, we are live. Got a special show tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my guest for the evening. Been on YouTube for about 13 years, so quite a while. Mr. Rhine1988, 1988. I always say 1988 for some reason. But Justin, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Jake. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. So,
thanks for coming on.
You're welcome, man. I love the. By the way, I love that opening. I don't know what that song is, but that was really catchy. So.
I was gonna ask because that movie is it's a movie that was filmed in Kentucky.
Really? What's the movie? I mean, what's the movie called? Like
Haunted Wing from 1991.
I'm gonna have to look that one up because that seemed like a lot of fun. So
yes, it is, and it's but when you watch it, because you know you're from Kentucky, the accents are 100% authentic.
Love it.
Because it was filmed in most of it was shot at WKU, actually.
Really?
Yep.
Oh wow! Oh, that is so cool. So now I'm gonna have to look that up. Haunted Wing, correct?
Haunted Wing, yeah. It's on YouTube.
I'm gonna have to watch it
on there. The DVD that I have is probably way out of print.
I love stuff like that. I love coming across, these, underrated gems. I love stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out for sure. So.
It is a good one. I think you'll enjoy it. It's definitely kind of a Halloween ripoff. But...
Hey, you gotta love them though. That was the 80s right there. So favorite time for me in horror movies was the 80s. So
yeah, I will agree.
Love it. So awesome.
Well, if you're ready, we'll get started here.
Let's get started. So excited.
The first thing I always ask everybody that comes on here that does this is, what got you into the genre? What started your love for the genre, I guess?
So the love what started it for me was seeing John Carpenter's Halloween and Halloween 2 back to back on USA. It was a weekend night, and I was a kid. This was 97, I think. So I was either 9 or going on 9. And I just remember watching them and being fascinated with them, being creeped out at the same time. But my mom was a big fan of Halloween and big fan of horror movies. So I remember watching those two movies back to back and just being in awe with them. And ever since then, like I've just been in love with this genre. I share this passion with my mom, who's a big horror movie fan, and her favorite horror movie, like mine, is John Carpenter's Halloween. And it carried on from there, seeing, the original Friday the 13th. I remember seeing that on VHS, and my mom was like, just watch the movie. I'm not going to say anything. And I remember sitting there on the couch watching the ending, and then Jason pops out of the water, and I jumped out of my chair because I did not see that coming. And it was so much fun. Like, I think about stuff like that. I remember seeing the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like having a back-to-back double feature with that and the remake, and just knowing that even though I think the remake's great, the original was like my favorite. The first time I remember, so this was like when I was 5, and I wasn't in love with horror movies then. It wasn't what got me started, but the first horror movie I could tell you I saw was A Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was 5, sitting behind a couch, terrified, could not move, and it took me a long time to watch another Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Like, it really kind of freaked me out. But going back to your question, like the one that really kind of gave me the passion and the reason why I love this genre is because of John Carpenter's Halloween. So
awesome. That's a good one. And so that is the first one you've seen. Like, you watched 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it's funny, especially growing up when we did, because we're not too far off age wise. But it seems like we always started in the middle of a franchise or something.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I can tell you that so this is funny. I saw Halloween 5 before seeing Halloween 4. And Halloween 5 was after, I think, 1 and 2, probably the third Halloween movie I ever saw. And I remember watching Halloween 5 and seeing kind of that opening, and they're kind of, having a small recap of the fourth movie. And I'm like, what is going on here? There was something I loved about it, but I was like, there's something just off here. And it took me probably 10 years after seeing Halloween 5 to finally see Halloween 4. Halloween 4 was probably one of the last Halloween movies in the original franchise that I saw.
Really?
Yeah. And then Friday the 13th, I didn't see the original or the first movie until probably 03. And I had seen some of the other, Jason ones. I remember seeing Jason Takes Manhattan. It's one of my favorites. I love that movie, but I remember seeing that one, and I remember kind of being creeped out as a kid, but I watched that. I saw Jason Goes to Hell. I saw some of the other Friday the 13th movies when they would be on TV, and it took me until 03 to see the original. And the only thing I remember people saying in school was, "Oh, well, Jason's not the killer in that one." And I'm like, "You're lying. Like, this is, I don't believe you." And then I saw it, and I was like, "Okay, Jason's not the killer." So, but yeah, I would say that's a franchise where I didn't see the first movie until later on. So
yeah, I'm the same with you on that on Friday 13th. I don't know if you remember. I think it was like Spike TV at the time, but they would always run like a Friday the 13th marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like New Blood is probably the one I've seen the most.
Yep.
It was always on TV. And funny enough, you said about it was later when I seen the original too. But Scream spoiled that for me, for the first one for me by the time I finally got there.
Yeah. I know. Well, I remember watching Scream when it came out in '96, and I was like, how did I not get that? Like when I watched that movie, and it wasn't until I saw the movie where I was like, oh yeah, Jason isn't the killer. Um, but yeah, Spike TV. I remember the Friday the 13th marathon, so those are like great memories I have. So,
I'm glad you remember because Steve helped me to remember because I asked, I can't remember who I had on. We was talking about it though. But do you remember when they had this marathon? They would do like these commercials, like we'll be right back with Friday 13th, and it was like a set of marathon runners running, and they're getting water, and then like Jason's running behind them.
yes,
Thank God somebody
I'm
remembered that.
glad you remember that because when you were talking about it, it popped in my head. I remember that. I remember like Saturdays, like having this marathon on TV, and like you would see little Jason run across the screen, and I was like, this is cool. So I remember that. Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because when you talked about it, you just mentioned it. It popped in my head. So the
I'm glad
nostalgic
you.
stuff.
Yes, and I'm glad you remember because I've asked a few people and like I don't remember that, and I'm like, well, maybe that's just something I've created in my own head or
No,
something.
no, I remember that. I think it actually like would get me excited when the movie was coming back on because like you saw that little figure, like you saw the little Jason run across the screen, and then another the movie would pop back on. Or I don't know if you remember this, like when like say like final chapter was coming to a close, you would see like the little Jason run across the screen. It would say a new beginning coming on after this, or like they would tell you what movie was coming on next. And I just remember spending all day watching those movies. It was a Saturday watching all those movies back to back to back. And this was like even before the time I had, and I still have it, the from Crystal Lake to Manhattan box set. Like I saw these movies for the first time on TV, and it took me till 0405 to get that box set. So yeah. I'm glad you bring that up. That's nostalgic right there. Like it just pops in my head. So
And you said that you seen Halloween 1 and 2 on TV first.
yep.
I think like this newer generation, man, it sucks that they're not going to get to experience what we got to experience as far as discovering this stuff on TV, or even as far as going to the local video store and just getting something based off a cover. Everything's so digital these days, and I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not getting. I mean, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry.
No,
about
you're
that.
good.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, you're not gonna get it. Like, I don't have Shudder. I'm thinking about getting it because there's some great content on there. But it's even though that's great, and there's some great movies on streaming and on TV, it's still not the same. Like,
No.
for me, like when we're watching these movies, when we were watching them, I look at internet and I'm thinking the closest thing that I remember to internet, the biggest thing was like having a Yahoo email account. Like that was like huge. And we didn't know about a lot of these movies. Like internet was very kind of small back then. And so like you're seeing these movies for the first time on TV, or like you said, growing up in video stores, you would go through the aisles and look at all these covers that were just so good. I remember renting so many movies based on the covers and not knowing anything about them. I was lucky to work in a video store, and it was amazing. And I was like, that was 6 awesome years of my life working in a video store.
Awesome.
Yeah, but growing up with them, like you said, kids today, young youth today, they're missing out on something special. Like I even look and think about like, this time of the year, like, I don't know. I grew up, if I wasn't watching AMC or Spike TV, I was watching like the horror movie or October Halloween specials that the Disney Channel would play. And they would play all these great movies, and they're on Disney Plus now, but it's like, you don't get that nowadays. So like there was something special about it. Something absolutely special.
Yeah, I think a part of me, the way I feel about it, it's like when you say you went to the video store, or you watched that movie on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Especially getting a movie from the video store, like that's a commitment you had to make. You
Yeah,
knew you was going to watch it, compared to getting on Netflix and you have 10,000 options, so you spend 2 hours scrolling trying to find something to watch, and you just end up not watching nothing.
I know. Yeah.
So,
That and like with streaming, it's like you can turn it off and on like whenever you want. Like if you don't like a movie, you can just turn it off and go somewhere else, finding another movie or television show. Um, and like you said, it was a commitment when you rented that movie. It was like, we're gonna watch this film and check it out. Um, I remember. Okay, so I'll show you this. This movie right here was a film that I saw, and no one really knew about it when I was growing up, and when I would talk about it. But I remember seeing Witch Trap on VHS. And it was, for the longest time, I thought it was part of the Witchboard franchise. And I remember seeing the VHS cover and it said, not a sequel to Witch Trap or, Witchboard. It was its own movie. So stuff like this I would rent at the video store based on the cover, or Witchboard or Fright Night Part 2, like all these movies. Like it was such a great time. Great time. So
yeah. And so growing up, like, did you have a mom and pop or a chain store close?
yeah. Oh yeah, we had I had, so the biggest one that Movie Gallery was a big one for me. Back then it was Movie Vault. But
Video
I
Vault,
also
right? Was it
Movie Vault, yeah.
Movie Vault, yeah.
And then they changed it to Movie Gallery, so that was cool. But I remember the mom and pop video stores. I remember living in Oregon for, I think it was like late 90s, and it was so close to where we lived. So me and my sister or friends, we would walk to the video store, and right when you were getting up to walk in the entrance, they had their horror movie display outside the window, or you could see it from the outside. And so that was a really fun one to go to and just rent movies. And we'd rent these obscure films that we had never seen, and it was so great. And then there was a Star Video that we had around where I lived growing up as a kid, and that was a lot of fun to go to. So yeah, I had the Movie Vault, I had Blockbuster, but I had the mom and pop video stores too, and they were really special for me. I loved going to those. So a lot of nostalgic feel, or it wasn't nostalgic then, but it was very special. I loved those times. I miss those times. And then I worked at one, like I said, for about 6 years, and that was a pretty amazing time, because when you have that love for film and you grew up with the video stores, it always just put a smile on your face when people would walk into a video store for the first time, or it had been a while since I had been in one. So, and then you can recommend movies to people. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I want to ask, because to me, like, growing up, I had a mom and pop right across the street, which was awesome.
Yeah. Sweet.
And we also had Movie Gallery. That was the biggest chain close to me. Do you remember when it's kind of DVD kind of was new, but VHS is still a thing. When they would do the 7 movies for $7 for 7 nights?
Yep, I remember that.
That was like Friday night. If I was good in school, we'd go to the video store. I'd get my 7 movies, and that's what I was doing all weekend.
Yeah, I remember that. And like, you talk about Friday nights, that brings back a lot of stuff. Like, that for me was like the best time to go out. I didn't have to do anything big. Like, it was like, go to the video store, rent some movies for the weekend. After a week of school, you would get to enjoy a weekend of movies, and then you'd grab some food or popcorn or your candies or whatever it may be. And that was my Friday nights, and I absolutely loved it. Like, and I think we would be in the video store for quite a bit, because we were going down all these aisles looking for movies to rent, looking at the covers. So yeah, that was a great time. Movie Gallery was funny because at one point I lived on, my dad was in the Army, so I lived on a base, and they had opened a movie gallery on post, and every weekend I would go, and they remembered my face. They were like, "Oh, you come in every weekend." It's like, because that was what I loved. I absolutely loved it. I could spend an hour in a video store just roaming around looking at everything. So,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, I sorry if I ramble. I just had
You're
this
fine.
is just
You're
awesome.
No,
So
better times for sure. It was always this is what I did when I would do the 7 movies. I would get like five new ones and like 2 that I loved. So if
yep.
the other ones weren't that good, I could count on this one to watch it over and over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So those are great movies. Yeah. Great memories. Great memories. So, but I do remember that 7 movies, 7 nights thing. That was great times.
It was.
Did you? So I worked at a Family Video. Were you familiar with Family Video?
Yes, but never really rented from there because the closest one was about 45 minutes away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That
yeah,
was
but I want to ask, you worked at the VO store, so I'm kind of curious, like between what time was VHS done and it was strictly DVDs, or?
Yeah, it was so this was I started in 2014. So this was, you know, more DVDs, but we were getting into the Blu-rays. Or there was Blu-rays there when I started. So it was DVDs and Blu-rays. I do remember before I started, like growing up or living in Missouri, like Family Video had VHS titles you can rent. But yeah, it was mostly DVDs. We had Blu-rays, and then it was 2018, I think, or I think earlier than that, when 4Ks were slowly coming out, and we would get like one 4K of a certain movie, and we'd rent that out. And I think we honestly had more DVDs would rent out than Blu-rays, so we would get like more DVDs of a certain title in stock, and then maybe like a certain small title of Blu-rays come in. So, but yeah, it was around the DVD and Blu-ray time that I worked there.
Awesome. Before we got Tony, Basement Blue.
Hey, Tony, what's up? Sir? So you're online?
Yep.
Well, thank you. I love Tony's an awesome guy. So
yes, he is. So back to working at VO store. Since you say it was that late, because pretty much Netflix and you got Redbox and stuff like that at the time, was business still pretty good at during that time?
We would, so when I started, so again 2014, Friday nights and Saturday nights were the busiest times for us. We would literally, like, there would be like maybe 5 to 9 that if I worked a late shift, 5 to 9 would be our busiest times. People would grab food, then go to the video stores. But as the years went on, like, it slowly wasn't as busy. Our hours would change a little bit. But what I loved about it, even towards the end, was the dedication that some people had going to the video store. And I just remember when we were closing, when people found out we were closing, like, I would have customers coming in crying because they were like, we can't believe you're closing. Like, these were the regular faces that I would see every day. So it was busier when I first started there, and towards the end, it slowly started, not getting as busy, but we would stay steady. Like, it was pretty steady. So, and I will say this, like, where I live, internet connection sometimes isn't the greatest. And
yep,
so
I'll agree with that one.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't have the opportunity to stream or watch movies online. Like, so, I felt bad, like, when we closed, because it was like, this is a source of entertainment for people going to the video store and renting these movies. Because now you just have Redbox around where I live. If you don't have great internet connection, and even Redbox isn't the greatest sometimes. So, yeah, it was just sad that it was sad that place closed. So
yeah, it does suck, because that was the last of kind of, they were, I think, the last major chain still open. What year did they end up closing theirs there?
So, their Family Video officially closed in, I think it was late 2000, early 2001. We closed literally a week before everything shut down in the country. Like we were like out. I remember this. We got the announcement in February of 2020 that we were closing. So we had a whole month to sell the products, and then we closed our stores in March. We had a week to get everything cleaned out, and literally like after we closed a week later, everything shut down. So it was just crazy. I'll always remember that just because of that, because we literally closed down when everything closed down in the country. So
Yeah, that's about like the one that was close to me that they closed around the same time. Sad to see. I mean, I got to go in there and I bought some stuff when they had the sale, but
even when I was working there, like I would like they were like, oh yeah, you can pick movies out, and I got 4K titles and Blu-ray titles for like $1 a piece. I was like, okay, I'm sad this is closing. I love this store. I love being there, but I scored some good movies. So, and I got to take this guy home with me. I don't know if I can move this around. The Sour Patch Kid.
That's pretty cool.
So they were gonna throw him out. I'm like, no, I'm gonna take him home.
Oh yeah.
So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Keep that.
Good memory I have there.
Well, I guess move on to YouTube.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll start because I mean you've had your channel for what, like 13 years, and what made you decide to start a channel back in those days? Because YouTube was kind of fairly new. I mean, it wasn't so.
Well, I was a big movie collector. I loved movies. Like I said, my mom and I are big movie fans, and so we collected movies. And I remember collecting DVDs quite a bit. Like this was before Blu-rays were even a big thing. I think when I started, Blu-rays were just coming out. So I had a good sized DVD collection, and I just remember one day going on YouTube, and like you said, it was a new thing at the time. So I was watching like just music videos and tribute videos of certain movies, and I typed in like DVD collection videos, and like a good couple pages of them popped up. And I remember just seeing people talk about movies and having that passion for physical media. And I was like, I want to do that one day. And so it was 2007 when I started watching videos. And I remember attempting to record videos, and I remember the camera that I had at the time wasn't working. So it took until 2008 to finally put up my first videos, which were like 1 minute and 30 seconds, and you didn't see my face, you just heard like a very quiet voice talk about movies that he picked up. But yeah, it was that early day of YouTube, and I just remember seeing Zara Nizarak. I remember seeing Mr. Parka, so many other YouTubers. I'm drawing a blank. Mad Puppet Death was one. She's not on YouTube anymore. Mr. Parker is, and he has great stuff. Jay the Stingray, he's still on YouTube, but he was on there around the same time. I think he started around the same time. So yeah, it was seeing other YouTubers talking about DVDs and having a collection, and I'm like, I want to do this. And it was so much fun. Endurance Productions was on YouTube. So many great ones. Some that are still around today making YouTube videos. Absolute Sublime one. Josh Terry, which I know he's making videos, but I don't know if he's made anything in a while. So, but yeah, that's how I got started, was just watching other people talk about movies, talk about horror movies. Honestly, it's like I saw movies like Prom Night before I ever came across YouTube, and that was kind of like just seeing them, seeing the DVD at the video store or whatnot. But if it wasn't for this community, I never would have been introduced to Giallo films or Dario Argento or some of these underrated 80s gems of movies. Like, the community's been so amazing. And so like I've been able to watch these movies through other people and then create friendships, which has been such an amazing thing. Resident Vania, like he's not on YouTube anymore, but he started when I did, and we're still friends, and I still talk to him. I have a buddy named Brian who I just love, and he got married 3 years ago, and I married him and his wife, and it was because we met at a convention 10 years ago, and he was a fan of my channel. So, and then of course, Doug Lander, I met him through YouTube. So the community is awesome, and the friendships I've made will always stick with me. So just very blessed. I'm rambling, so I apologize.
Oh,
Jake.
no, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I agree. That is one of the biggest things that I've took away since I've just like friendships and stuff like that. So
I gotta mention Nick from the Lost River Drive-In and Ken Sledgehammer Horror, because those are two awesome guys too and friends. So shout out to them. But anyway, I interrupted you. I apologize.
Oh no, you're fine. You are fine. I was gonna say, like in them early days, what was it like? Because I remember, that time. It's like we didn't have it as easy as we do now, where I can record a video on my phone and upload it, no problems. The process from having to have your camera on an SD card and then upload it to the computer. And then if you're lucky, you might have had like Windows Movie Maker to edit it. And then it started the long process of like probably a day or two of uploading a video.
So still today, I'm very bad at editing. Like that's one thing that I still try to improve on. I know how to make thumbnails now, which is pretty impressive, but like it took editing for me. I'm like, it's still a learning process, but you talk about like how it took forever just to upload a video. I remember having my first camera where I can record videos, and it would take like 2 hours, maybe a whole day, just to put up a 5-minute video. Like it was so weird. It was a different time. And now I use my phone to record videos, and like poof, within like 30 minutes, even less than that, like a 30-minute video will be on YouTube. It's so different now, but yeah, I remember the process. It was great getting your camera, plug in your USB cord to a laptop or computer or whatnot, and then it taking hours to upload even like I said, a 5-minute video. My first videos, if I did not have my small camera, I remember getting one of those book laptops. Do you remember those small little laptops?
Uh-huh.
They weren't like, I had one of those, and it had a webcam, and I can record that way. But if you go back and watch some of those, they're so out of sync. So like I start talking, and then like 5 seconds later, you hear my voice. And I just remember those were like, that was the first year of my videos was having out of sync videos and talking about movies and horror movies. So, and yeah. Do you remember? So before we had the like button, you had the star. So you would rate the videos as like a star. So like a 5-star or a 4-star. Like I don't know if you remember that, but that was before like the like button or the thumbs down button. Like that was your thing, how you would rate like videos, how you would respond to them. So
I don't remember that one. I remember when you used to be able to do like video replies and have messages on YouTube, which it's kind of sucks that they don't have that now, because it's like, well, I mean, I guess now it really don't matter because majority everybody has their socials linked on their page, but like trying to get a hold of somebody to collab or something, if that wasn't just it'd be a lot easier.
By the way, hello, Jamie. I see Jamie in the comments. How are you? Much love to you, friend. But I remember video responses were so much fun. Like, that's how you really like communicated with people. If you didn't, like you said, Messenger, you can like message somebody, or you can like, respond to comments. But video responses were so big then, and I had so much fun doing video responses to other YouTubers. And you can link those videos. I think I remember this. You can link those videos to their video somehow, and it was connected that way. And that was really cool. Like, those are great memories I had. And like, the community was much smaller than it is now. So, I've created so many amazing friendships over the years. But I just remember there was that small group of people in a community, and like, some of those people are still close friends for me today. So, but I've created so many amazing friendships. So it's great talking about early YouTube, because I remember that being a really awesome time for me. So.
Oh yeah, and we'll start. Do you remember how old you was when you started? Looks like you're fairly young here in your first couple of videos.
So how old was I? So I am going to be 34 now. So I'm going to be 34 this week. I was 20.
20.
I was 20 years old when I started making videos. And I always say, if you go back to my videos, I had some unique hairstyles back in the day. I had long hair at one point. I had highlights in my hair. Like, I used to wear beanies all the time. Like, it was such I go back and watch them, and I'm like, you know what? That is throwback Thursday stuff right there. Checking that stuff out. So I did a lot of videos too. Like, we would record videos at my college campus. Like, when we were like in between classes, like, I remember having 2 classes at one point. One was an early class, and then the other one was like at 3:00 in the afternoon. So me and some friends would literally like make YouTube videos in the college campus during, those downtimes, and review movies and talk about them. And I still have those videos up on the channel. So it's pretty fun to go back and look at them. Even my out of sync voice and everything. I'm like, this is like the best stuff.
Yeah, it definitely like take you back, going back and watching, old stuff.
Yep.
Like that. So at what point, because I know like towards you started doing interviews at conventions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What point were you like when you realized, because you got about 4,500 subs, something like that, when you like, hey, stuff I'm doing is catching on and I'm having a good time doing it?
So it would be towards, I think it was 2010 maybe, and it was just, I remember one video, I have a catchphrase and I still use it today just because it's fun, and that's go eat some Skittles. People are like, where do you come up with that? And I'm like, it's my favorite candy. And one day I was just like, let me just come up with this saying, and it catched on. And I remember this was like a few years ago. I was like, I'm gonna retire this. Like, I'm not gonna say it anymore. Like, maybe people think it's goofy. I don't know. And my best friend Brian, who I said I married him and his wife, messaged me one day, and he's like, "You are not getting rid of that." He's like, "That is your trademark." But that was a big thing. But it was just, when I would go to conventions and run into people, and they said how much they loved the videos, and how they enjoyed the videos that would, I would upload, and just kind of just meeting people in person. Like I said, my friend Brian, he doesn't have a YouTube channel. He didn't make videos, but like,
Metal Man?
You what?
Is it Metal Man? Metal Man Brian?
Yeah. Metal Man Brian?
Oh, Dead Pit. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
we're gonna talk about that too.
Yeah. Metal Man Brian. I don't know if he's watching, but if he watches later, I love you, dude. Garrett from Born to Be Rad told me once, he was like, you guys need to have your own movie because you guys are so opposite from each other, you and Brian. And I'm like, I know, but it works. I mean, he's literally, I remember like meeting him in 2010. So this was the first time I really knew that like people enjoyed watching the videos I made. And it was him coming up to me, and he was like this muscle guy coming up to me, and he's like, Rhine1988? And I'm like, yes. Like thinking, who is this person? And he was like, I love your channel, man. Like I watch your videos all the time. And I was standing in line to meet Heather Langenkamp, and that's what started our friendship, was Brian coming up to me and like just saying how much of a fan he was of the channel. But like I said, it was really just kind of having people come up to you or come up to me at a convention or message me or something like that, and then them just saying, we really love your channel and we love your videos, and then creating friendships with these people. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
oh yeah.
and I think the go eat some Skittles thing was a fun thing. I remember doing that at conventions. I got Daniel Harris at one point to say go eat some Skittles in a video, Tiffany Shepis, Judith O'Day. My first one was Tom Atkins, and let me tell you what, he's have you ever met Tom Atkins?
I haven't, because of the Dead Pit stories. So
okay, well I'll tell you this. Tom Atkins for me is one of my favorite people I ever met, and I remember Scarefest in 2010. It was like the last day I was there, and he remembered my name throughout the whole weekend. Like he would say, "Oh, hey Justin, how are you doing?" And it was the last day I was there. It was a Sunday, and I said, "Do you mind saying go eat some Skittles in a video for me?" And he's like, "Sure." And he said it, and I just remember at the end, he had just had a nice, fun chuckle, and was just having a good time with it. And I was like, "This is awesome!" Like Tom Atkins from The Fog and Halloween 3 just said, "Go eat some Skittles in a video for me." So that was golden. That was beyond golden.
So, yeah, sounds like it'd be pretty cool.
But I will say this too, and over the years, it's just like YouTube's just been a big part of my life, and I've taken breaks off and on, but I always come back to it because one, I love it. I love talking movies. I have a passion for it. I love the friends I've made. I've just had such a wonderful time. So like YouTube is a fun hobby for me, but it's just a big part of my life, and I've grown as a person. Like I've had a lot of growth in my life, and I've shared things on YouTube, not just movies, but just personal things on my channel. And I've invested a lot of time, and I'm just very proud of it. So very proud to be a part of this community.
Yeah, and that's I think that's awesome. And like you say, take a break. I think everybody's gotta take a break every once in a while.
Yeah,
but it is nice. I think one thing that I like so much is it's nice to have a place to like express yourself, like because us both being pretty close, Kentucky, small town. It's not every day you meet somebody that's into the same stuff that you are.
No,
no. It's nice to find people and share common interests and stuff. So.
And I totally agree with that. Like when I started making YouTube videos, I was a big horror movie fan, and you talk about living in like small communities and small towns. When I started making videos, I was living in Arkansas, and it was like Bible Belt town, and the town I lived in was very small, and I think people thought I was probably bizarre because I liked horror movies, and there wasn't a lot of horror movie fans there. So, I created friendships, and I talked about my passion for them through YouTube and people I would interact with. So that was a big thing for me. So it's a big thing for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm trying to, the first time I think I remember hearing about you was on Dead Pit, I think.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I love Dead Pit.
Yeah. Awesome guys. But I'm trying to, because I've been going back like on their Patreon, I've been listening to stuff, but I'll notice, they'll notice they brought your name up here and there. But I guess like how did you discover them? Because it's funny, like when you look back at the community, as far as you got like you and then Piz and a bunch of others, all kind of Garrett, all kind of came from that, from them guys.
I love Deadpit. Those guys are awesome over there, and super awesome guys, and very nice people when you meet them in person. And they're just how they are in their videos. They're just great people. I came across them in '08. It was '08 or it was '09. And do you remember watching, and I love these videos so much, when they would go and take a trip to the movie theater and then they would review the movie afterwards? Like, I remember them reviewing Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and I don't think they're a big fan of it, but I just remember seeing their on the road videos. Like, that was fun. Like, Into the Pit, I think it was called. Those blogs were called Into the Pit. So I came across those guys through YouTube, and then I came across their podcast, or is it called a podcast? Like, I don't know what you call it now, but it was their website that they had, and you can like listen to their streams and their chats, and it was a lot of fun. But it was '08 when I came across them, and I want to say it might have been '07 that I first started watching them, because I think when Rob Zombie's Halloween came out, if I remember correct, they did an on the road trip video to go see it in theaters. So I think I came across them during those early days of, like I said, YouTube, and seeing those on the road videos, and then watching their videos, movie updates, them talking about movies. Huge shout out to them, because there's some movies that they've talked about that I've now seen because of their channel and because of their podcast. So it's just really awesome. I'm glad they're back too. I know they took a break for a while, and I'm glad to see them back.
Yeah, I'm glad they're back too. And like you brought up, they put me on a lot of movies during the year, especially Madman. It wasn't
Madman, yes, yeah, big one for me.
Yeah,
big one. Again, I interrupted you. I apologize.
No, you are fine. You're fine.
But Madman was the big one. That and Monster Squad. If you remember, I watched Monster Squad for the first time because of their channel. It was yeah. So it was their do you remember, so the DVD had just come out. It was '07 or '08 when the DVD came out, and it was like the anniversary edition. And they had reviewed it, or they talked about it, and I just remember thinking, I really want to go see this movie, or I really want to watch this movie. So I bought the DVD at Walmart because of their love for it, and them talking about it. So Monster Squad, I saw it because of them, and that was a big thing. So
wow, that's weird. You saw that later. I don't know. Well, I don't say it's like weird, because I guess I grew up with it. Like, it was a video store staple for me.
Yeah.
So
so the reason why it took me a while to see it is because I thought, when I first saw the cover, the Lionsgate, I had the Blu-ray, it's over there, but the Lionsgate cover, it's not the greatest artwork. It's the old DVD and Blu-ray artwork. It's fine for what. Yes.
Holding the thing behind. Yeah.
Yes. And I thought, when I first would come across it at the store, I'm like, I don't know if I'd be interested in this movie. And then it was because of, Wes and the Dead Pit guys and Aaron, them talking about the movie, that I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to buy this movie and check it out. And I'm like, I don't know what I was missing, because this movie's fantastic. I love that original artwork. I absolutely love the poster artwork, and I wish more companies would use those original artworks, because they're just so good.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes I don't know what they're thinking when they come out with some of the Halloween 4K artworks are awful.
See, I personally love them, but I like the original. Yeah, I like, because it just has that great fall feel to it. But I'm more of an original poster guy. Like, give me stuff like that any day. Like, that is for me. Like, I am not a fan of the Lost Boys 4K artwork that they have, or their Poltergeist one. I think that one's okay, but I'm like, just stick to the original artworks. Like, for me, those are the best. Like, those are the best.
Yeah, I don't know why they do. It seems like anything, especially with the vampire, they make it seem like teenagey love stuff. Do you remember when the Near Dark Blu-ray came out? And it looks like a Twilight cover?
Yes, and I have that Blu-ray. I have it. I'm looking like my Blu-ray horror movie sections right here. Like this is my boutique stuff, and then I have all my other horror movies on the other side. That was one of the first Blu-rays I ever bought in my collection, and it was just because my mom surprised me with the movie, and she was like, "Have you ever seen this movie?" And I'm like, "No." And I watched it, and I was like, "This is a great movie," and the artwork definitely does not do that movie justice. Like,
Nope.
where's a new release of that movie? Like, it's so sad we don't have another release.
Yeah, way out of print.
What about you're talking about some artworks. Do you remember before we had the Scream Factory release, My Bloody Valentine Lionsgate released the Blu-ray with like the red cover and like Harry Warden holding the Valentine's Day box?
Yeah, yeah. I had the DVD of that, and that was the first one that had some of the uncut stuff on it, right?
Yeah, that was a special time to have that because it was like we had the old Paramount DVD, which was the theatrical cut, but when that came out, it was really cool because you were finally getting My Bloody Valentine uncut. So it was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was another like time. It's back Anchor Bay, the early DVD days when they're just, because a lot of this stuff we haven't seen it since VHS, and putting all the special features and all that awesome stuff. So,
I was thinking about this not too long ago. You talk about Anchor Bay. Do you remember like when something would go out of print, like it was so hard to find, like it was impossible to get some of these movies?
Madman was one of them.
Madman was one of them. I remember I spent a little bit more money on some of these movies than I like to admit, just because I was like, I really want to see these movies. Madman was one of them. But now, you look at Scream Factory and Vinegar Syndrome and all these companies, and they're releasing all these movies that we had a tough time getting a hold of and watching. And I remember the Slumber Party Massacre, the old DVD releases. I think they were the Concord DVD releases.
Was they the Roger Corman cult?
Yeah.
That had all three of them or whatever?
Yep. Yeah. Well, this was before Shout Factory got a hold of them. So these were like bare bones DVD releases. This was 07, I think, or 08. And they went out of print, and they were so hard to get for the longest time. And I remember finding the first Slumber Party Massacre for $30 online used. And I'm like, okay, this is the lowest this movie's going right now, so I'm going to have to purchase it. And then the Roger Corman triple pack came out with the bonus features and everything. And I was like, well, that's great. So I love that.
Hello, Michelle. How are you doing?
Hello. How are you all doing? Thank you all for stopping in, by the way.
Dan, I'm really bad at chat reading.
You're okay. I'm still the same way sometimes. Like it's one of those things you get used to over time. So, yeah. You talked Anchor Bay real quick. I'm sorry. You talked Anchor Bay. Mm-hmm. Best memories I have collecting movies was Anchor Bay.
Mine as well. Do you remember like being, because that was the time, like yes, boutique stuff's awesome now, but mainly we're going online and buying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember being able to go like Best Buy, or I don't know if you had like FYE.
Yeah.
And they had all the Anchor Bay stuff. I remember getting the Demons 1 and 2, the 2-pack they had. I remember getting it at Best Buy.
I remember that. I remember getting Night of the Demons. I actually had to order that one, but I ordered it at a movie place. It was before I had Amazon, before I knew any of that. And I remember I was like, I really want to see this movie. And they were like, well, we don't have it in stock, but we can order it for you and you can pick it up. So seeing Night of the Demons, I remember picking that one up. But like you said, FYE, Best Buy, these were like the places that I would go and buy these movies. Evil Dead 2, the old Anchor Bay DVDs, which I saw one of your updates not too long ago, and I think you bought the Anchor Bay DVDs of those movies, and I was like, oh, nostalgic stuff right there. I love it.
I did. I got one of the I think it's Evil Dead 2. both of them, but the one I remember it has still had the remember the title had the title inserts in it for the scene selection, had that in there.
Do you remember? I don't know if you have it, but I'm a big Witchboard fan. I love Witchboard, one of my favorite horror movies. And the Anchor Bay DVD had like an insert in it and had like a fake Ouija board, and like you had like the whatever they call it, the spindle or whatever. Anchor Bay was so awesome. I miss them. I loved old school Anchor Bay. Like I have stuff like this still, which this was the coolest thing to get your hands on, that or like the leather books. They were just so awesome. So you had that, the Dawn of the Dead 3 Ultimate Edition. Like I remember paying like $30 to get this because this was, back in 09 when I got this. And I think Scott Roniger signed it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So just very cool. Like stuff like that. Great memories. Anchor Bay. I miss them so much. I saw Hell Night. I saw so many movies just by picking up those Anchor Bay titles.
Yeah. So. I mean, it probably wasn't for them. They were my introduction to Italian cinema as far as House by the Cemetery and what else they do?
Suspiria, I think.
Suspiria, Nightmare City, Gates of Hell.
Oh yeah,
Demons.
Yep. Demons 1 and 2. I bought those. You talk about going to these places to buy these movies. Like we can order these movies online now, which is sadly a lot of the times what we have to do. But if there was something special about going to a store, going to FYE or going to Best Buy and picking up these titles and coming across them, which was really awesome. So I remember finding like Halloween 25 Years of Terror documentary at FYE and thinking, this is so cool. I can't believe they have this. Just awesome stuff. Awesome.
Oh yeah. And another, like, while we're on the topic and I'm thinking about it, do you remember going to conventions back when all this stuff was still not released when, DVD at the time? So you would go, you'd go to conventions to the bootleg table and get the bootlegs.
Oh yeah.
I still
have some.
Quite a bit of them.
I do too. Midnight Hour was like one of those Halloween horror movies that I loved so much, and the DVD was so long out of print. And I remember Scarefest 2010, there was somebody selling them, and I'm like, score, and you can get like so many of them for like $5 a piece. Like it was amazing. So, or movies that had never had DVD releases before, they somehow got these movies on DVD, and it was the best thing to have these movies in your collection and watch them. So yeah, I still have quite a bit too. Oh yeah, so the Red Cross Sleepaway Camp collection.
Do you have that? You got that?
I don't have that. I bought my mom for 1 year for my birthday got me the one that didn't have the Red Cross on it. But they bring up that box set. Just being introduced to Sleepaway Camp through Anchor Bay, I had no idea what I was watching, and I didn't know nothing about these movies. I just knew I wanted to see them because people were talking about them, and just loving the films and being literally shocked by the ending of the first movie because I didn't know anything about it. So
yep,
it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. The best time, and you probably agree with me with this, was just, you come across these movies and you didn't know anything about them. You just saw the covers, or you probably knew very little about them, and you would just buy them on a whim, blind buy them, and check them out that way. And a lot of those movies were films that we now love and we cherish, and now Scream Factory or somebody has a hold of them. But it was just a great time to be a collector. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. And for me, there's one company that I'll still to this day, I'll do that with. I just go based on the cover, and that's Vinegar Syndrome. I'll blind buy. I would say 90% of the stuff I buy from them is blind buys. And because they're really good at polishing up a turd
Oh, they
to
are.
make
I
it
know.
look awesome, and it's really like horrible. But
I know. What's one movie? Where is it at? This movie is so cheesy, but I just have a good time watching it. Berserker. Yeah.
is that the Viking?
Yes, the
Yeah,
Viking
yeah,
one.
yeah,
And it has
yeah.
a song called I'm a Cool Guy, like this cheesy song in the movie. And I'm like, this is fantastic. So and then I've not seen this one yet. I bought this one, I think, last year during a sale. Bloody New
Bloody New
Year.
Year.
I've never seen this one. I still have yet to watch it. So
I remember that cover art in the video store, but if I've seen it, it's been so long I don't remember
and then you got
nothing
things
about
like
it.
this. Don't panic.
Yep, and it's a treasure. This is a good
Yep.
one. I like that one.
Yeah, I like that one too. I like it. And then you got a movie like this, Graduation Day, which I had seen before this Blu-ray, but I remember they announced it, and I was like, oh, so happy, so happy that they're releasing something like that. Or good old Jack Frost from '98. So
That's a good one. Well, that's a Christmas time watch every year for me. That one.
same here. Same here. Blue Underground's another company that I love, and I love still today purchasing things from them. But they were like Anchor Bay for me. Like, I think my first Suspiria purchase was getting that 2-disc Blue Underground DVD that they had, and again, not knowing anything about the movie and watching it and loving it and being terrified by it. Like, I watched it in the middle of the night and it creeped me out. So
Yeah, Blue Underground, like Code Red, they were around during that Anchor Bay time. They're still doing stuff now. I think Blue Underground, they ain't releasing anything new. They're just updating everything to 4K, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say this though, Blue Underground, I just did a big purchase from them during their latest sale. I was like, ooh, for like what was it? Toolbox Murders Blu-ray and I don't want to show the cover, sorry. Toolbox Murders Blu-ray for $4.98. I'm like, I'm gonna grab that. Like, that's a pretty good deal. So they had some fantastic sales. So I grabbed some movies and I was like, score on that. Got a bunch of titles from them. I'll have to do an update at some point and show them off.
I'm a sucker. I'll buy like new releases here and there if it's something I really love. But usually if there's a sale, I splurge, and that's where when I buy most of my stuff.
That's sometimes the best way to do it. Like, Scream Factory is having a sale right now, and there are movies on there that I'm like, I really want to get, but I'm like, I should be good, and just like Scarefest is coming up, and there's other releases that I want, but I'm like, oh, there's some great titles on there, some back catalog titles that I never got that are like $10, $15 that I'd like to pick up. So yeah, so very cool.
See, well, I want to ask, kind of to wrap up the YouTube thing, like what are you gonna have coming up, or what do you want to do in the future as far as YouTube? Or you still, just doing your thing with Nick and gonna post videos here and there? Or
well, Nick and I do the Haddonfield Alumni High every Tuesday, and I thank Nick a lot. Like, huge shout out to Nick, because Nick really got me back in love with YouTube. Like, I had fall out of love with it a little bit. I had not really done anything like before, everything shut down. Like I think like 2018 and the early 2000s, I really wasn't as active as I wanted to be. Like, I would post videos every once in a while, but I wasn't as active on YouTube. And then starting those weekly streams with Nick, like, he really got me back in love with YouTube. So huge shout out to Nick. So we do our Haddonfield High alumni streams, and then I just started making videos again. I just posted a Halloween franchise physical media collection overview, coming back to YouTube doing that, and I have my October tube that I call it this month, where I talk horror movies all year round, but it's going to be a special time of the year because it's the best time of the year to really kind of show your passion for everything Halloween and horror movies. So, a lot of stuff coming up. I have an update tomorrow that I'll be posting talking about some of the latest movie pickups that I've picked up within the last month. A lot of horror movie titles, good stack of them. And then I'm going to record a Blue Underground pickup video. I want to do a couple dedication videos where I talk about one that I want to talk about is John Carpenter's The Fog, which is one of my favorite movies. So yeah, some of those videos, and then I started about 4 months ago, Rhine1988's Top Horror, and that was just kind of different episodes, different top 10 topics. So I'll be bringing that one back too. So
one that I know you started, you was live streaming, kind of collabing with some people. Are you gonna bring something like that back, or?
Oh yeah.
Because y'all did, what was it? You did like Fright Night and Witchboard.
Yep, it was I call it it's retrospective and memories. So I like to bring friends on, people through YouTube. I'd love to have you on the stream and dedicate and we talk about a movie that we both love and the memories that we have with it, and then we interact with the everybody in the chat. So that's a series that I started, and I'm going to bring that back as well. So we'll definitely have to talk about one of our favorite movies that we both love, and we will. I'll have you on. So
sounds good.
It would be awesome. It would be awesome.
Fun time.
But great stuff to come up, guys. I'm also I try to spread positivity and love, and that's something that's very important to me. And I hope to lift people's spirits, especially when they have, not so good days. So I hope I spread that through my channel.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But that's what I have coming up. I'm just coming back to YouTube. I took a little bit of a break, and I'm back, and October is going to be a fun month. So I got my Halloween decorations up, which I'm going to show in a video. So
can't wait for that one. That'd be cool. Always like that.
Thank you.
And we'll before we wrap up here, I just want, yesterday was October 1st. I think the weather, especially here, has finally it's been nice the past week. Great, beautiful fall weather. I'm in the season. So are you in the
I am in the season, Jake. I love this time of the year. I got all the fall feels, and like you said, the weather's been beautiful. You've had that nice fall crisp in the air, and I've got my pumpkin spice stuff, and I'm watching some movies, and I usually start my horror movie marathons in September because there's so much I want to watch, but it's so perfect when you get October 1st when it comes up October 1st, and you officially start your October watches. So that's something else I want to do, like at the end of every week, kind of just talk about the movies I've watched so far, and whether they're favorite movies or first time watches, just talk about them. Gonna try to watch a movie every day if I can. So
that's what I'm gonna try to do as well. I always say that every year, and it just somehow never works out. But so far, 1 for 1.
What have you watched? Tell me,
so the movie I started with yesterday, for the October 1st, was the new that new Bring It On.
How was it? Like, I'm not gonna. Okay, so if you guys don't know me, like, I love horror movies, but I also am a big sucker for like those teen movies that came out around the time I grew up. So Bring It On is one of my favorite movies. That's a fun fact to know about me if you don't know. I love those movies. Or I love the first Bring It On. But tell me about this one, though. I want to know about this slasher base.
It's let's see. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of got the Bring It On, with you got the cheerleaders, and they go in somewhere and get locked in a school, and there's the killer. But it's PG-13. It feels like a sci-fi movie, which I think it is.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it if you like the thing. Nothing great, but it was enjoyable, I guess.
But it's something new to watch, and it's something I always say, like, you watch these movies and you can tell everyone or tell yourself, I've seen that movie. But I like coming across that stuff. You talk about sci-fi, like those were like the best times growing up. You watched a lot of these movies on sci-fi. Or sci-fi original stuff. Speaking of which, what is going on, Nick? Lost River Drive-In. Buddy. What's happening?
Me and Nick did a Halloween show Friday night.
I saw that. That was a great time. So
poor Nick gets, anytime somebody wants to talk Halloween, it's got to be Nick. But
Nick and I, our friendship started because of Halloween. So, and he always gives me flack because I like Halloween Resurrection. Because I'm like, I like the movie. I don't love it, but I like the movie. But I watched last night. I'm very proud of myself because normally I'm like, I get so tired now. I'm like 10:30 and I'm in bed, which is crazy because I used to stay up until like 3. But I watched 3 movies last night. I was very proud of myself. I watched Wreck from 2007.
Good one.
I watched The Descent, which is just amazing. And I watched the original 1933's Dracula. So
that is one of my things I want to do this October is go through I bought the Blu-ray box set. Amazon had it on sale like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's got all the originals plus Bride, and I want to watch all them this season because I've only seen Dracula and Creature. I haven't seen the others.
Creature is my favorite of the Universal monster movies, so please tell me what you think of that one. Well, no, you've seen it.
I've seen Creature. From what I've watched, Creature is my favorite too.
I love it. And I rewatched Dracula last night, and the first time I ever watched Dracula, I was kind of bored with it. And then I rewatched it last night. I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking 10 years ago because this movie's actually really good. So, but yeah, Nick, he says, I started YouTube because of Justin. Well, Nick, I love you, bud. So I was talking about you before you came on here. So I was talking about how much you love Jason Goes to Hell and Halloween Resurrection. Like, Nick doesn't want to admit it, but he is a big Halloween Resurrection fan.
Big Freddy's Dead friend too, right?
He loves Freddy's Dead. Like, he is a huge Freddy's Dead fan. I tell Nick all the time, I'm like, Nick, stop texting me every night that you're watching Freddy's Dead because he watches it every night. He says that is his comfort movie. When he goes to bed, he has to put on Freddy's Dead. And I'm like, Nick, you're just so obsessed with it right now. Just so obsessed. I'm just kidding, Nick. I love you.
Stop.
He's gonna get me on. He's gonna get me on Tuesday. He's gonna be like, "So you want to talk back?"
Nick watched Halloween 2018 last night to kick off October. Gotta say, it really is a solid movie. Not as fun as Kills is, but it's a super well done movie. Yeah, hey, I like Halloween 2018 out of that whole trilogy so far. It's my favorite. So,
I like Halloween 2018. I don't love it though. Like, I got a lot of crap when I first saw it in theaters and I said, I don't love it. People were like, how come you don't love this movie? I like that one. But Halloween Kills has had a big kind of turn for me because Halloween Kills, when I first saw it, I did not love it, but it is like one of my all-time favorites now. I love Halloween Kills. So I love that. And I'm so looking forward to Halloween Ends. The trailer that they released looks great, and I cannot wait for that. So
yeah, I can't either.
See that. What about Hellraiser? Are you looking forward to Hellraiser? Like, I am excited to see.
Dude, it's my most anticipated movie this year, I think. Even Halloween Ends. Because funny enough, I've been going. Me and Jay, the Stingray, we've been going back and we were watching the Hellraiser movies. Like, tonight, my movie is going to be Hellseeker.
Oh, nice.
So, because we're going to do a franchise retrospective towards the end of the month. But man, that trailer looks awesome. I'm so stoked for it.
I watched it I've watched it probably 10 plus times now, Jake. Like I am so excited for that movie. I'm starting to, well, I'm in the process of finishing up the Hellraiser movies. I'm at Revelations and Judgment. And
Mm.
Judgment's a fine film. Revelations is terrible, but I've only seen it once. I'm like, I just gotta watch it because I told Nick we're gonna do a ranking of this franchise. And we're gonna talk about it during a live stream. And I just gotta do it. And Nick's seen it before I have. Like, I was telling Nick, oh, you have to watch Revelations before we do this. And he watched it again before I did. So I kind of feel bad that he watched it before me. So,
Yeah.
but I got to watch it. I was like, maybe I'll watch it tonight, but I don't know if I want to, before go to bed, watching a terrible movie. I don't know.
Yeah. I will say, like, I've always said, like, one through three are great, right?
Yeah.
And then I've kind of blocked the other ones off. But going back, I watched 4 and then Inferno, and like I love 4. I love 4.
I love Bloodline. I love that movie.
I didn't hate Inferno. It
I
reminded
didn't
me.
either.
It reminded me of a Saw movie before Saw.
Yes, exactly. And I am on the verge of loving that one. Like, I really enjoy Inferno. Enjoy Inferno.
I was shocked. I really liked it. So.
I was too. I was very shocked that I really enjoyed that. I was more shocked that I love Bloodline now, because I used to like Bloodline. I love Bloodline now. Like, for me, it's my third favorite. It's in my top 3 for sure. So,
and the Hellraiser it's a weird franchise because, dude, there's almost a major star like now in every movie. Like Bloodline's got Adam Scott in it.
mm-hmm.
Inferno, I don't think Inferno had anybody too big.
Inferno
in it,
had Craig Schiffer from like Nightbreed and Some Kind of Wonderful,
and it was James Remar.
Yes,
he was in it.
Language, Nick. I see your language right there, Mister. You better be good. I'm calling him out. Language.
And Hellworld has Henry Cavill in it.
I know, and I rewatched it. I like Hellworld's a fun one. Hellworld's fun. I had a good time with it. It's on the bottom of my ranking, but I had a good time with it. You know what? The one that surprised me the most, that I actually loved when I first saw it, but the last couple watches I really don't like it anymore, is Hellseeker. And I love Ashley Lawrence. I absolutely love her, but the movie as a whole, I'm like, this is one of the worst ones for me. And I loved it when I first saw it back in 2007. So
it's been probably the last time I've watched it, and I'm gonna watch it tonight. But I remember they brought back like a legacy character like her, and they really did nothing with it.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah. And she's a sweetheart. I've met Ashley Lawrence, and I'm just over the moon.
She's amazing, and she still looks great now. That was a Creep Show episode she did was great. I wish she would do more stuff.
Did you ever see a movie? She did, and I saw it because she recommended it, and I have an autographed DVD that I bought from her table. It's called Lightning Bug. Did you ever watch that movie?
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
So it's based on Robert Hall, rest in peace. He was the director of it. He directed Laid to Rest, but it's based on his life growing up in a small town. We were talking about this earlier, living in a small town where you're like really the only person who has a passion for movies and horror movies. And he grew up watching movies at the video store and wanted to be, work in the special effects and work practical effects. Well, it's based on his life. It's based on a teenager growing up in a small town where he felt like an outsider. And Ashley Lawrence plays his mom in the movie. That is a great movie, Lightning Bug. I recommend looking that up.
I just added it to my watch list here. So
awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's based around October. So
that might be Monday's movie for me.
I think I'm going to rewatch this year too.
I might knock out 2 movies tonight. I work night shift, so usually on my Sundays when I gotta work Monday, I stay up late. So
yeah, I'm gonna watch one at least tonight. I gotta get up. I get up at 6 a.m, so I'm like, I want to watch 2 of them, but I'm like, I think I'm just gonna watch one tonight. But it's It's my goal at least to watch one movie a night during October. I felt like I slacked so much last year. Like I don't think I watched one every night. Like I tried and I'm like, oh, I missed out on some movies that I wanted to watch.
Yeah,
So.
I slacked real bad last year, especially on Halloween. Like I have a whole thing, especially like now having a kid, it's a little different, but usually it depends on because I always if it's a work day, I always take vacation day, take off that day. And I watch. There's like 5 movies I like to watch on that day, and last year I only got 2 of them and slacked off. So,
what are your? I gotta ask you. Do you have your traditional ones you like to watch on Halloween Day though?
Halloween 4 and 5 back to back is a must.
Yes.
Trick or Treat. For Trick or Treat, I can't ever. There's too many of them. But the newest one, Michael Dougherty? Yeah.
Michael Dougherty's one. Yep. That's
and
cool.
Haunted Wing. Haunted Wing is
nice. I like watching. Mine always changes up a little bit, but I didn't start it off yesterday, but you normally like in the beginning of October, I like to watch John Carpenter's Halloween. And then the day of Halloween, I will watch John Carpenter's Halloween. But I like to mix it up. So I'll watch the TV version on Halloween. Watch that with a couple other John Carpenter films, or like you said, Trick or Treat. So those are great ones.
I bring this up to like everybody I talk to and see if they feel the same way. But like usually, majority of the time, I end the night with Halloween 78, and then November 1st, I'll watch Halloween 2. Because to me, Halloween 2 is more of a day after movie.
The day after movie,
even though it's that night, but it's probably like 12, 1 in the morning. So it's technically November 1st.
Yeah, November 1st. Yeah. No, I get that. I saw you and Nick, you talked about that when Nick was on. And I was like, that makes sense though, because it's like, it does take place November 1st.
Yeah. And it's really got nothing to do with Halloween other than the opening scene where the kid's walking into the hospital with the razor blade. Yeah.
It's actually like that's not my favorite of the franchise, but it's my second favorite after Carpenter's Halloween. Like I said in the beginning of this, those are the first 2 horror movies that really had an impact on me. Watching those back to back. I remember seeing the TV cuts for the longest time and buying the old DVDs, and I'm like, where are these scenes that I remember from this TV cut? And it was because they were made for TV. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Before we wrap up, I know you kind of mentioned some stuff, but you and Nick got a show Tuesday, I'm assuming?
We got a show on Tuesday. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to be talking about that day, but I will text Nick about it. But yeah, we have a show on Tuesday. I think it's 6 p.m. Haddonfield High alumni. So over on Nick's channel. So that'll be a lot of fun. I love doing that every week with him. And then update tomorrow for me on my channel and more to come in October. So October Tube, Rhine1988's October Tube. So, and Nick, you have no idea either. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it'll be fun. So I think Nick wants to do some Magic Mike stuff. And I'm like, Nick, no, like I told you, no, we're not doing it. It's not happening, Nick. I'm kidding.
Well, we got Hellraiser's Friday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think not this week, but next week. I'll have to talk to Nick, but next week we're gonna have to do our Hellraiser ranking franchise. I know he did a video on his, but we'll have to do one on a live stream. So I gotta tell you, like I've had so much fun rewatching that franchise. I know some of them are like not so great, but it's been fun to rewatch them and just have a good time. It reminds me of the old Dimension days when you would watch them or rent them at the video stores. So he said next week will be Hellraiser. So
sweet.
Very cool.
Well, y'all be sure to check that out. And after this video gets done, uploaded, I will drop links to Justin's channel and all that good stuff. So you can go over there and check him out.
And everybody, by the way, like this video and subscribe to Jake's channel if you're not yet.
Please.
So if you're coming across this for the first time, subscribe to Jake's channel. So
I would appreciate it. And
I like it. Thank you, by the way.
I thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it.
I had a lot of fun. So
I did as well. And for what I got coming out, I think the 9th, next Sunday, me and Jonathan, Mr. Bombastic, we're going to be doing a little Kevin Smith retrospective.
ooh, I love that. That's cool.
Yeah. And then on Sunday, the 16th, me and Jay the Stingray is going to do the Hellraiser franchise retrospective.
Sweet.
So.
I can't wait to see that stuff. So, well, if you don't mind, like if you ever want me to be a part of a retrospective, I would love to do that. So I love stuff like that.
We'll figure one out.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So.
Thanks.
That's really cool. Kevin Williamson, that's a really cool retrospective. I'm looking forward to watching that. So yeah, grew up with Kevin Williamson. So
well, if you ain't got anything else, we will get out of here.
I'm good. Just thank you all for watching. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching this back, I hope you enjoyed it. So, and thank you, Jake, for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here, man.
You're welcome, man. So,
well, till next time, guys.
bye, guys.